Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Sky-Dweller reference 326933 in 18-karat yellow gold and 904L Rolex stainless steel. You can see and you can purchase this two-tone, 3-day power reserve automatic winding annual calendar GMT, the ultimate travel watch, on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch, with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally, full pricing details for this Rolex Oyster Perpetual Sky-Dweller. The Sky-Dweller debuted in 2012 and instantly became the most complicated Rolex watch and, with its 9001 caliber, movement ever made. A monstrous movement in a case and dial display, deceptively simple by comparison. This is a watch that's easy to wear, easy to use, and offers immense capability if you know how to use it. I'm going to show you how to use it and talk about some of the advantages of this watch, but first, let's talk about the fit and the feel. The watch is 42 millimeters across the round of the case from 9 to 3, not inclusive of the crown. Thinner than it looks, it's 14 millimeters thick with a generously sloped precious metal bezel, so you should have no trouble slipping it underneath any cuff. I would say that the watch from lug-to-lug is fairly compact at 52.4 millimeters. This is an easy watch to wear. Remember, even the fairly compact for a 44 millimeter Yachtmaster 2, which is only 2 millimeters larger in diameter, is 57.5 millimeters lug-to-lug. So 52.4 means this watch wears narrow across the wrist, and I believe you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters in circumference with absolute security, possibly even 14 centimeters if your wrist is oval in profile like mine rather than round. You also note that the watch, when viewed from a distance, is nicely matched to a smaller wrist aesthetically. It's a good look, and ergonomically it's also a comfortable fit. The watch is solid though. Today, with milled out clasps, solid center links, solid end links, a full steel Rolex feels like a precious metal Rolex from a few years before. When you add actual gold, you get an even heftier and more gratifying precious metal pull on the wrist. The clasp and the bracelet are well made. As you can see, there is a contrast in the finish, polished flanks. The shoulders are satin finish, and then polished, solid yellow gold center links. You'll also note that the clasp is finished inside and out. This is a premium Rolex, so no expense is spared with a blasted interior finish, all of high polish, gloss, and gleam. Easy link, Rolex's proprietary 5mm quick link. It's basically the equivalent of taking in or taking out one link. If you were to add a link, that's the equivalent of pulling Easy Link out. If you were to take out one sizable link, that's the equivalent of folding Easy Link in. It snaps, it snicks, it's nicely made, it's fun to use, and it's perfect for making small adjustments. The watch has a milled out clasp and a hefty bracelet that nicely counterweights it on the wrist, almost like the keel to a sailboat. So if you like to wear your watch loose, you can wear this watch with an extra link with total confidence because it has no tendency to porpoise or capsize, even though the watch head is massive. The watch head is also nicely made. Though it is a contemporary Rolex case of the latest generation, it doesn't have the awkward case-to-lug to bracelet dimensions of the pre-2018 Rolex Deep Sea. It actually feels like a huge Datejust case in profile, and it has a nicely rounded profile so it doesn't look sheer or indecently squared off from the side. The watch is large, but it does not lack for elegance. Of course, the faceting of the fluted precious metal bezel is gem-like and beautifully reactive in the light, but it's also a functional part of the caliber 9001 movement, and it's impossible to discuss the dial, which is a beautiful matte black, think Rolex Yachtmaster, and you have an idea of the matte black I'm talking about, with gorgeous applied 18-karat yellow gold indices, fully loomed 18-karat yellow gold hands at center, and matching Rolex coronet. Now note the small red dot outboard of the Rolex coronet, and then note that there's a white dot, an aperture, outboard of every index. Because this is an annual calendar, each hour has that index outboard that turns red to mark the month. So 12 is December. You're looking at the 31st of December. Let's talk about how you use this watch. By the way, there's the index for your GMT 24-hour wheel. There's your date. There's your annual calendar month indicator. Now let's discuss. The function and the feel. I often get questions about the back of a watch that does not have a display case back, so I will not be remiss here. That's what it looks like. Satin finished and polished. It's a screw-in Oyster style case back, and the watch boasts 100-meter water resistance in spite of that massive through case fitting that the ring command bezel represents. So now once I screw out the crown, there's no crown guard. In the first position, I wind. And you see, if I pull the crown out to its second position with the ring command bezel justified all the way clockwise, nothing happens. I can wind in the first position and then it freewheels. Now what happens if I turn 90 degrees? Now you'll note the date, bidirectionally adjustable, and I want you to focus on the aperture at 12 o'clock. Remember, I told you that month indicator is going to move. And there it jumped to 1. Now it's January. It's the 1st of January. But I can also adjust back to December. It's bidirectional, both date and month. And it's an annual calendar, so it only needs to be adjusted once per year during the transition from February to March. Now turn one more time. Now I can move the local hour hand. So assuming I've already set my GMT reference time, so I know, for instance, that it is 2 a.m. in whatever city I am following at whatever point on the globe, I can also set my local time. And note, the watch doesn't stop. It doesn't stop in the first position when I'm setting the calendar. It doesn't stop in the second bezel position when I'm setting the local hour. And then I turn once more, and you'll note all of a sudden the movement has hacked. So stop seconds, corresponding to the movement of every indication of the watch in sync. So what I'll do, let's say it's 6 a.m. in Singapore, and I want to set 6 a.m. in Singapore, and then I want to set a local time, wherever I might be. Well, I do it just like that. Now let's say I want to correct my date, and I want to adjust some point in February. You'll see how the month indicator continues to move. The Rolex Helios planetary system that controls the annual calendar is an engineering miracle and an absolute pleasure to operate. Now, of course, once all this is done, bring your bezel all the way clockwise to lock everything in place, and then screw down your crown for security. It's that simple. Now, moreover, the watch has other mechanical refinements, including a 3-day power reserve, automatic winding, a 4 Hz, 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate, a full balance bridge, and a free-sprung index for shock resistance, a Breguet overcoil hairspring for resistance to positional timing deviation. Also, that is made of parachrom blue Rolex alloy, so the overcoil hairspring is also anti-magnetic. The watch is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, which means it meets tolerances over 24 hours, having been tested for 16 days of no worse than -4 + 6 seconds per 24-hour period. But Rolex then retests the movement as a completely assembled watch and ensures that it meets the standards of the superlative chronometer certification, which is Rolex's own in-house standard of no worse than -2 + 2 seconds per day. This model also uses Rolex's latest generation Paraflex shock protection system. It's said to be more shock resistant than Inca Block or KIF, but all I can say is that it's formidable in that Rolex made their own. The most impressive manufacturers in watchmaking do not make their own shock protection springs. You're talking Swatch Group, Seiko, Rolex, and very few others. Very, very, very few others with very, very, very impressive names or very small shops. So, between super majors in the industry and one-horse operations run by AHCI luminaries, you're not going to see shock protection provided from the company that makes the watch, Rolex being an exception. Okay, in summary, annual calendar, GMT, 3-day power reserve, 100 meters water resistant, big, tough, substantial on the wrist, and made in the modern era of Rolex, provided with superb timing credentials and impeccable pedigree. That's the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Sky-Dweller, reference 326933 in yellow, gold, and steel. Big, blue, and bright, it must be Rolex Chromolite. You're seeing the luminescent shot of the ultimate travel watch, the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Sky-Dweller. The watch is two-tone, but the dial, by night, is one-tone. Brilliant. See it and own it on our website.